Blue J and Jello J bring flair. Stu with 2 titles, still hungry for more. But watch out, the Tomato King's at the door. Dash calls the shots, runs it like a boss. The metal pelting's coming, gonna sting and toss. Basement boys forever, this league's our pride. Carbon Dash, take you on a fantasy ride. Hey, this the Carbon Dash show, better check your stats. Previewing the matchups, breaking down the facts. From draft day drama to those title dreams. We the kings of the basement league, we keep it alive. Carbon Dash,
What's going on, everybody? It's first episode we've had in like 2 weeks, so it's a week 12, and season is almost gone. Very sad. It's a bittersweet time of the year. I love the holiday season. I love the bowl game season, but I also hate the end of fantasy season. And this is the point of the year where like I get texts. I know Tay just texted me, texting the group message about like doing things like involving the BL Plus, like when in the off season. I know he wants to do like a rankings of like teams and stuff, so we can have our own trade charts, which is actually kind of key. But like people are already looking for ways to continue the fantasy season because they see the end is near, and it is sad, especially for somebody like me who's going to be out of the playoffs in a few weeks. But nonetheless, even though I am not mathematically out of it, there's still a shot for me to get into the playoffs. And honestly, there's still a shot for all 12 teams are still in it, which is fucking insane. Usually, like at this point of the year, we have like a Tomato King that's like, oh, that guy's like 2-7 right now. He's definitely going to be the Tomato King. But right now, it's pretty up in the air as to who's going to be last and who's going to make the playoffs. But nonetheless, it's good to be back on the Cobb and Dash Show. Cobb, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing well, yeah. We took the week off last week. You know, NFL teams get their bye. We get our bye week.
Your audio is really like robotic-y. Can you speak? Oh no, I can't hear you. Say something. No, I can't hear you at all.
What about now?
Good? Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Jesus, I got a notification that my headset was dying, even though I just charged it.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it's like that, NFL teams get their bye week. We get our bye week here at the Cobb and Dash Show. So we took last week off. Doing well. I think it's like you said, bittersweet time. Getting set up for Turkey Bowl next week. We might have to update some of the intro bids after the game next Thursday.
True.
Said NFL season's winding down, or at least the fantasy season's winding down in the sense of for some teams, other teams will be looking to get in the playoffs. But I'm excited. I'm happy. I could be happier with where I'm at, but I can't complain. So I'm looking forward to not being last place. I think it's officially impossible for me to get last place. So it's a good feeling.
That's true. And also with you not being last place, we're going to have to change up the intro or the intro video is going to have to be changed up a little bit. And then we're going to have our Tomato King is going to be changed up a little bit. The whole thing will be changed for that. It's exciting as to look ahead for what's to come for next year. Like you mentioned, the intro videos. A lot of changes coming, but I'm not a big fan of change, but sometimes change is good. And we're going to have a lot of change on the Cobb and Dash, all the stuff that we do to make this league as fun as it is. It's interesting, right? Like we talked about how there's like still like a lot to be determined in the rankings. But one thing is like you can't be last place. So that is like one of the things like you won't be last place. But we just don't know who's going to be last as of right now. And that's that's going to be a barn burner.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, right now we're going to get to our week 11 highlight. What is you looking at last week? And you can even go deeper since we didn't do a show last week, the prior week. But what is your highlight from the last 2 weeks?
I mean, the main highlight, I think, and maybe you were going to touch on this, is just that Tomato King race that's going on right now. Yags in 12th and Stu in 9th right now. I had to, wipe my eyes. I do a little double take there. And I think that might have been one of the ZT predictions that were right. I think he had him at 9. Maybe it was 8, but I think that's crazy. Yags he gets a win, and then Stu gets a win, or like other teams around him get a win, and he just can't climb out. And now there's only 3 weeks left. And if he loses out, He's Tomato King. Or he has to do. I mean, his points for are helping him a lot here. So you, Tasia, Stu, drop one tie with Yags, he'll hop it, but it's got to be nerve wracking for him that I was actually talking to him yesterday. He was a guy that was initially like, I don't care about the punishment, like whatever. I don't care. I've seen you guys throw. And I was in Discord with him yesterday, and he was like, dude, I cannot get last. I don't want to get last. I don't want to have that next to my name. I don't want to get dog. Like, so, I think he's starting to come to reality that this is a real possibility that he's last place. So I think that's my biggest takeaway over the last 2 weeks is close race. I'm excited.
It's and I'll say this: I think it kind of not every year fantasy kind of mimics what goes on in the NFL. And you've seen the NFL, like so much parity in the league, right? And like you have like 5 teams that are all like vying for that wild card spot. Everyone's within a game of each other, and like this kind of mimics the entire standings of our league. I mean, like Yags is right 3-7, 3-7-1. And then he has the 2 teams ahead of him are 4-7. The 9 teams 4-6-1. There's 3 games left. Let's say Yags wins out. You have the 8-9, or 7-8 teams 5-6. If they lose out, and then if ZT and are 6-4, who are all 6-5, they can potentially all lose out. And like we could have like a mucking in the standings. I don't think it's gonna happen, but like all these things can happen, and I think that's crazy. But yeah, my takeaway, Tomato King, you took that one. That's a good takeaway because that's still like way up in the air. And it's funny, he did last night. Yaglu did say he's okay with like being the Tomato King because he says he's seen most people in the league throw. So he did say that. But I don't think anybody wants to be a Tomato King. So that's like that forever lives. I mean, as you know, that forever like is like something you always take away. No matter how many championships you win, people are always going to remember the Tomato Kings or the Pancake Kings.
And I think underrated thing on that is you have to draft after you get pelted with tomatoes, right?
That's true. Your mind's not going to be there.
It's not going to be good.
It's not going to be good. I would say my takeaway over the last 2 weeks is a guy that we've talked about a lot in the show. In a way, he's taken a lot of the shots to the head with tomatoes on this show, really, is ZT. A guy who was at one point, he was the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing after 3 weeks into the season. He was a self-proclaimed winner of the league, taking shots at people for no reason, being cocky. He's really going out of character as a whole of a person. And ever since then, he did a midweek press conference, and I don't think he's been on a losing streak since then. But since then, he's 2-6, he's 3-6 since doing that press conference. No, he's 2-5. He is 3-5. Sorry, he's 3-5 since doing that press conference. He was 3-0 at the time. So 3-5 since doing that press conference. Not good. He's the 6th spot in the league right now. The team below him has more points than him. Actually, the next 2 teams have more points than him. So if he loses and those 2 teams win, he'll be out of the playoffs.
He's playing Roden this week. He's playing for a playoff spot.
Oh my God. I didn't even know that. Well, so that just tells you it's a huge week for ZT. People talk about must wins and whatnot. ZT's must win starts this week, and we have 3 weeks left. So it begins this week. I'm not going to say I'm going to be upset if he misses the playoffs. I think it's going to be hilarious because that just goes with it all. And I guess for me, that's a silver lining is if Alex does win a playoff game, at least I know ZT goes another year without winning a championship and continues to be the longest tenured owner without it. So that is my highlight of the season so far, I would say. Not even just week 11. That's my highlight. ZT being on the fritz of not making the playoffs, that's my highlight of the year. Are you shocked?
Yeah, I mean, you called it. You said that if he lost to Alex, whoever lost that game was going to be fighting for playoff spot, and
it's true.
Literally, it came to fruition. I can't. It's weird. ZT has these talented teams. We've seen it before, and somehow every year I fall for it and think that things are going to change. And it's like, okay, this is like, there's no way this falls apart. And lo and behold, I also think he got some bad luck, and he was complaining about his injuries, and I was like, dude, it's not as bad as someone like Hodge. And he was like, nah, we're like right there. And then I was like, it could get worse. And I didn't mean to jinx him. I think he kind of jinxed himself. He ended up losing. I know he lost Dobbins. I think he might have lost someone else too.
He's barely starting Dobbins anyway.
Yeah, it's just it's he's flustered. He is flustered now. I'm hearing he's showing up the basketball shoes. Like this guy needs to focus, and he's running out of time to do that.
100%. Honorable mention, a highlight was Lil Jack. Being, I think people aren't really understanding how big of a deal it is to be the high score on a week that you're in the air. Not forget the jet lag portion. The guy was in the air from Hungary the night before. Was like, hey man, like, can I send you a guy if BTJ is out? And then like it was like 2 a.m. I texted him. I was like, hey, BTJ is ruled out, and he was like, okay, cool, thanks. But like this guy was in the air while his team's freaking throwing up points, and the guy won the high score of the week. Just phenomenal. He's been probably one of the best additions we've had in this league. He's always seeking to learn more. He'll text me about like, just ask me questions, and I respect that. But also this guy has come in this year and is like taking the league by storm. I know he's a 4th seed, but like he leads the league in points. I think this is his second time winning the high score of the week. Let me make sure. Jack, Lil J. Oh, it's his first time, huh?
I think Alex like passed him barely one time.
Yeah. But I mean, Jack is another honorable mention for the week 11 highlight. But you can't really supersede the ZT not making the playoffs. That's got to be the number one headline of the week.
Oh, 100%. I gotta give I played Jack last week. I had second most points for in the league, played the high score. But with that being said, like I've had an extremely lucky schedule, so like this was gonna happen at some point. But the dude, I think he got like 6 or 7 touchdowns between his guys, and he started Michael Wilson, who got 30 points.
Start of the year, mate?
Start of the year. I mean, like he was in the air. He was worried about BTJ getting called out. Wasn't sure like what his sub was going to be. And he left. He could have started Brissett too. Brissett had a 31 on his bench.
Stack of Ruski.
But he's making good calls after good call. Like he seems seasoned. And now we're talking like I'm glad you brought it up because we just talked about a guy that should be seasoned. But he might be cooked, like it's
yeah.
Look,
it's really sad.
Yeah, hats off to Lil J and CT. I don't really have words for you right now. So
yeah, we're big Lil J fans in the show. The Lil J Michael Wilson start was unreal because when you said that, because I didn't look at his roster last week, but when you said that, I was like, holy shit, that's a good start.
I just like every time I got my fair share of touchdowns. Like Derrick Henry scored 1, Kyron scored 1. I'd look and I'd be like, oh, surely like my projection's going up. And especially like with Herbert getting a 4, and I was like, okay, I could still pull this out. I'm like, where the hell are these points coming from? And then I look at the bottom of his bench, Michael Wilson just going crazy. Yeah, that was incredible call. He had able to pull out a win like that, especially while being international, is not easy to do. So
not easy at all. Yeah, I mean he's legit, man. You're right. The week that he did win the high score before it was a stat correction. Alex ended up winning it that week. That's why there was a graphic I made where Lil J is like sat at the table and Alex is behind him. All right, so now we got week 12. Big week here for a lot of teams. You mentioned ZT Roden matchup's going to be huge. First matchup, though, I'll let you take this one, is me versus Alex here, the 1 versus 11 game. Now, you may think this game's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. Alex and I are in a lot of leagues together, and I'm 3-1 on the season against him. One of the wins coming in this game, week 1 of the season in this league, which I thought, I was like, maybe I can grind out some wins. And I've only managed to win 3 since then. But still, I think I have something over Alex in this matchup. Just the pedigree aspect of it, and I think when he sees me, I don't think he thinks he can beat me. So I think it's huge in that respect. But based on projections, he should wipe me out like everybody else has recently. Lakab, take us in this matchup. Tell us what you see.
Yeah, I was going to comment on last night's game, and I was looking for where Shavers was on your team until you dropped him.
I dropped him.
That's a pretty good bit. Yeah, no, this is it's 1 seed versus 11 seed. You typically this late in the season, you don't expect these to be competitive, but somehow, some way these like you see Stu getting a win last week, like anything can happen in this league. We saw some players in Thursday night for Alex. Didn't look great for Nico. He got hurt at one point, and then Shakir kind of picked up the slack. It didn't look like, I mean, at first Shakir, I was like, he's going to get all these catches for like 5 yards because he was catching things behind the line and then getting just demolished by the Texans defense. But then ended up with a good stat line, so he's got to be okay with how that game showed out. Like it's not great, but not like a weekend or anything like that for him. But going matchup to matchup, this is to hold on to that one seed and probably lock in a bye week if he wins this week, which he's probably thinking. The schedules he's had, it's a big week for Alex. He needs to stay focused and keep grinding because I think he has a game lead over me and Adam right now. But there's a bunch of like other high scoring teams like Lil J that's right like 2 games back, but it could easily take that bye away from him. But yeah, go matchup by matchup. Baker against Mahomes. You get to face your Bake Show, your keeper. This is something that I'm sure you're not looking forward to. It's a guy that you had so much faith in, that you kept him, and then you gave him to Alex, and Alex has been an okay owner for him. I think he's had one decent week. The other weeks haven't been great. And now he's going against the Rams. You have Mahomes against Indy. Like I think this is going to be a tough. I mean, at least Mahomes is in KC. I'm going to give the edge to Mahomes here. Baker homecoming for LA, kind of revived his career over there. So I'm sure he's excited about that. But Baker just looks a little different to me. He's not slinging it like he was like earlier in the season, front half of the season. Alex has got a lot right on Baker because that's who's going to take him to the championship right now. I have Mahomes ahead of him. Against Indy, I think that's going to be a really good game to watch, especially like when it comes to like playoff seeding for the like NFL with Indy and KC. But I have Mahomes there. I just have more faith, especially at home. And I'm not as worried about Indy's defense as I am about the Rams. Worthy against Collins, I would have chose Nico. I think a 6 is very much doable for Worthy. I know he was limited today, but I think this could turn into a shootout, maybe a high-scoring game against Indy. So I think Worthy can clear 6. So I'll give Worthy the edge knowing that. Again, I wouldn't choose Nico going into the matchup. Jonathan Taylor against Kareem Hunt. Not going to ever choose against Jonathan Taylor, best running back in the league. Kareem Hunt, it seems like he's still the back to own, at least in the KC backfield. He's been doing great last 3 weeks. So if he can just if KC focuses in on Jonathan Taylor, Daniel Jones, I know is nursing a calf injury and hasn't really looked that great. Maybe there's a chance to shut down Jonathan Taylor, but again, I'm not going to choose against him. In this matchup, the God versus Kittle, the controversy, I don't know if we covered it on this show because we were off last week. Back-to-back 20-point games since that trade. Got a lot of people fuming. Obviously, touchdowns help in that respect. But I think Purdy's playing this week. So I'm going to give Kittle the edge there. But Goddard against Dallas looks awesome. So, maybe the Eagles start slinging it finally. Everyone's been waiting for it. But, Goddard's found the end zone more often than not this year. Give me Kittle there, but I think that's a pretty close, pretty good matchup. Wandale against Saquon. I'm going to go Saquon. Jameis I think is starting for the Giants this week. He's going to have to sling it. So PPR wise, Wandale should have a good game. But again, I just Philly should beat against this Dallas defense. I know their run D and their defense looked a little better last week, but it was against the Raiders. And Saquon's been a little slower these last few weeks, but I'll take Saquon there. Javonte Williams against Christian Watson. I'm going to go Javonte Williams. Christian Watson had a touchdown last week, right? It was 2. Yeah, so he had a great week last week. I know Jaden Reed, I think he's returned to practice, so I don't know if he's going to play this week, but I still do Christian Watson seems like a good one of the receivers you'd want to own for Green Bay just because he has a touchdown upside. Dobbs is probably a safer floor than Golden, just hasn't done anything. But again, Javonte Williams, just the known touches here. I know last 2 weeks has been slow for him, but I'll go him, even though Philly's defense can be a little stingy. Shakir against Tez Johnson, would have chose Shakir. But I do like that you have Tez in there to maybe cancel out a Baker touchdown. Going to need to throw out some bombs to keep up with the Rams. This Rams team looks awesome. So yeah, I think I gave you Mahomes and Worthy there, but the rest of it was Alex. I think it's a tough uphill battle. I mean, he just has between Taylor, Javonte, and Saquon. It's really hard. And now Kittle, he's going to have a really high scoring floor, so it's hard to pick up. I know his projection's gone down a little bit, but a lot of ground to cover. Mahomes is probably the way to do it. The Mahomes Worthy stack, but I think Alex gets this one. Let's call it a 130 to 119.
Yeah, I will say Nico and Shakir are getting what they got. I'm happy with that. I think it's a big win for the first night. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I will say Saquon, they're giving him a 16, but like I don't buy his projections anymore. Especially in Dallas this week, I will say Dallas actually has a really good run defense now. You have Quinn Williams and you have who's the dude that they got Clark from Green Bay. With those two guys in your middle, that Dallas defense isn't the same Dallas defense as these stats would indicate. So that I guess that's why they're giving him that 16. Kareem Hunt, they're still not giving him like good projections. I mean, the projections are just bullshit to me. I don't think I should win this game. Alex should win this game. But I will say, based on the projections, based on his points yesterday, Nico getting a 6 and Shakir, it opens the door, right? Because Tez Johnson could get a 13. I don't think he could. I don't think he would get a. I don't think he surpassed it, but I think 13 is doable for him. Worthy could get a 6. So those two things, if you just match what he's already given you, I like that. I do like Mahomes over Baker this week. And Jonathan Taylor, yeah, we've only allowed 100-yard rusher in the last 30 games. And on my podcast this week, we had our Chiefs defensive tackle, the guy who plays opposite next to Chris Jones, came on our show, and he pretty much told us what their game plan was. I mean, his game plan is pretty much how if we were talking on the show, what the Chiefs' game plan would be. It's stop the run, make Daniel Jones beat us. That's what he pretty much said they're going to do this week. So, like, you stop Jonathan Taylor, you make Daniel Jones beat us, and Jonathan Taylor doesn't get you a lot through the air. So if you stop the running game, and Jonathan Taylor's not getting his classic 20-plus points, I think it makes this game closer than it should be. But yeah, I think Alex wins. I hope I beat Alex just because it would be key just to have the 4-1 record over him this year in fantasy, and also be 2-0 in the league. In this year when I wasn't good this year, and I still have just that that veteran presence over him. But yeah, I think Alex wins. But I wouldn't be surprised if I pull off the upset just based on the matchup and Week 1, I won 99-90. So like that, there is that possibility there.
Yeah, last week was a showcase of that. There was a lot of low scores last week. So
yeah, unfortunately, I had the lowest. All right, our next matchup is we're going through the matchups. There's a lot of huge matchups this week. This Alex versus Dash matchup was not one of them, but a lot of huge ones. Adam versus Cobb is our next one. That's the 2v3 matchup. This is huge, obviously from 2v3, right? Cobb wins this matchup. Cobb's getting a bye, so it's a big matchup for our guy Cobb here. You have Purdy, Keith. All right, so let's go over this matchup here. So we got Dak Prescott versus Philly and Brock Purdy versus Carolina. Brock Purdy looked healthy. He's playing against Carolina this week at home in San Francisco. I mean, they look like they were clicking last week. Philly's defense, and you can say what you want about Philadelphia, but the one thing you can dog is you can't dog their defense. I actually do think Dallas wins that game, but I think it's gonna be more of an ugly ground game. So I think Javonte actually has a pretty good game in that one. But I think this game's gonna be all about Brock Purdy over Dak. So I'll take Brock Purdy in that one. Which is crazy because I mean Brock Purdy wasn't he just cut a couple weeks ago? Didn't Alex release him from his team?
Yeah, I think you released him in the trade after the trade that I made with him for Herbert. So I kind of got a free quarterback there, which is lit.
So you It doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, so you hang on to him all year long, but when he comes back, then you release him. Doesn't make any sense.
They dropped him 11-5. So yeah, just like 2 weeks ago.
Man, well, a week. Anyway, so we'll go with we'll go Purdy there. Huge mistake by Alex. And then you have AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs. I love the Philadelphia team is such a disaster right now. AJ Brown just like pretty much saying he doesn't watch the other leagues in the league, other teams in the league, because he says he gets pissed off like watching other receivers do well based on the offense season. And every week, like when you hear these comments from AJ Brown, like, okay, they're going to force feed him the ball. They're not doing that, which is kudos to the Eagles for like sticking to their game plan because it is winning, obviously. But like, you got at some point, man, if the Eagles were like a 5-5 team or 6-4 team, that would be such a disaster over there. But the fact that it's like this and they're winning, I'm gonna go Diggs just and against Cincinnati, horrible secondary. I say it being a shootout game, and I just don't trust AJ Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles passing attack at all. Jetty, Derrick Henry. Jetty gets Cleveland. Great run defense, just great defense overall. It is at home, and I can't trust the Raiders' offensive play calling. They were in that game last week, and the guy had like 5 carries. In the first half of that game, they were in it, and he had 3 carries in the first half. What are you doing? Derrick Henry, Jets have a horrible run defense. This is the kind of game where Derrick Henry will eat. So I'm going to go Derrick Henry big time in that one. This is an interesting one. Jake Ferguson versus Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's been great this year. I think he's like tight end 3 right now in the league. Ferguson's been awesome. He's probably been one of the more consistent tight ends in the league outside of like Trey McBride this year. I think I'm going to go Wash here. I like both these tight ends. Both are playing against pretty stout defenses. The Chiefs are pretty good against the tight end this year outside one game against the Bills. And Philadelphia just has been really good against the tight ends as well this year. I'm going to go Wash between these two. And then we got Bijan Robinson versus Chase Brown. Chase Brown, I think I'm going to lean Chase Brown here. Bijan Robinson, you can make the argument, right? He's the only thing they have, but like that's the only thing that New Orleans will key in on. No Drake London, no Penix. I think it's going to be a disaster of a game. I can see Bijan having a lot of carries for like not a lot of yards. I can see him getting a lot of checkdowns too. So I can see him having like a 12, but just based on like 5 for like 60 out of the backfield and like 15 carries for like 40 yards. Like not a good game at all, but a high volume. I think Chase Brown with Burrow being back. Is Burrow officially back yet?
He's questionable for the game.
Mm.
It's like they didn't make a decision by like tomorrow at 4 or something like that.
Okay. I mean, I will say with the emergence of Flacco, it has boosted Chase Brown. Chase Brown does look more like the Chase Brown of last year, the guy he kept. I'm curious to see if Adam keeps Chase Brown, honestly. But I think I want to go Chase Brown just based on I trust what I've seen from Flacco and versus Joe Burrow, which either one it is, over the Bijan Robinson with the Cousins and no Drake London. That scares me a little bit. And then we have Kelsey versus Kyron Williams. This is a tough one. I like both these guys in these spots. One's a running back, so he's going to get more volume naturally. I will say there's a lot of stats I dug up on Kelsey this week. I'll read them off to you. So 9 of 10 games this year he's had 40 or more receiving yards. Indy has allowed the 4th most yards to tight ends this year. He's been our like guy like pretty much all year long, even at year 50 for him. He's just been the guy for the Chiefs, and the fact that the Colts are so bad against the tight end, that actually might be a week for him. But again, I can't go against Kyron Williams and the touches he's getting. Tampa Bay's horrible run defense, so I'm going to lean Kyron Williams here. But I do like Travis Kelce. I guess if it was Travis Kelce versus Zay Flowers, I would go Kelce. But it's not the way we do these things in the show. Then we have Tyrone Tracy versus Zay Flowers. I'm going to go Zay Flowers. Tyrone Tracy, I don't know why he's getting a 12 projection-wise. So, yeah, I'll go Zay Flowers in that one. So, all this to say, I think Cobb wins this matchup. Cobb, you're the 3 seed, right?
Yeah. I'm like 20 points behind Adam, points 4-wise.
So you win this game, you're in the bye, getting the bye. Yeah, I like your matchups all over the place, way more than I like Adam's matchups this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a string of just playoff teams. I played, Jack last week, played Hotch, who at the time was, I think, the 4 seed. Before that, I played ZT, and then I had played Alex. So like it's been a kind of like earning my playoff spot kind of stretch. And this is a huge one because with only 2 weeks left after this for the regular season, with the team that's right above me, I have a big opportunity. Really, really need this win. I agree with all the assessments that like if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be Dallas. I know week 1 he got one, like AJ Brown got 1 target, 1 reception, but I could see him having like a 2-touchdown day, and then like Adam has some matchups that like worry me, and then obviously the Bijan point that you brought up, and I can't really get too upset about that because Adam does have Drake London, so like it kind of, losing Penix in London I think hurt Adam more than it hurt me because I have a playable Bijan. So I think, I like my chances. It's just one of those weeks where it's like really big. I do think I win here. I think it's going to be a high scoring one though. So I think like 135 to 128. With Chase Brown and Tyron Tracy, not super flashy, but like they get the PPR points. Like PPR, like that's what's keeping them afloat. Like Tracy had a 16 last week. And like New England, like a run D, but with Chase Brown getting all these check downs, it's going to be interesting. So huge week for me, and hope I get the win, and I'll take myself here. So, and yeah, thank you, Alex, for Purdy. That was key.
Yeah, that's an underrated storyline right there, especially if Purdy
an injured Daniel Jones against KC, which would have been terrifying.
Wow.
Or hoping maybe I would have thrown Burrow in.
It's kind of key. I don't know. I guess New England for the first game without Chase, that's tough.
That's way too risky.
Yeah, it is. All right. So our next matchup is Jack versus Stu. On paper, it may not be the sexiest matchup, but it has a lot of implications for a lot of things. This matchup.
Yeah, this is if Stu somehow sneaks out a win against Jack, the team we've been hyping up this whole time, I just throw everything out. Like nothing makes sense. This is, I think, from what the projections look like, this is a game that I think Jack deserves. He's been on a good streak. He's 4 seed. I think his team, as we've said, is better than what his seeding is right now. And the teams above him, like me, like Adam, we don't want to tie him because he's just going to leap us in standings. And like say with Alex, if he drops to you, then Jack's 1 game back, assuming he wins here. He's a guy that's no one wants to see Jack's team getting a bye. Matchup by matchup here, though. Jalen Hurts going against Bryce Young, which I sent a screenshot of this in the chat. Bryce Young got a 40 last week. And then Stu dropped Bryce Young to pick up Joe Flacco, and then a minute later dropped Joe Flacco to pick Bryce Young back up. So I don't know what's going on over there with Stu. He's just playing with house money at this point. He's the 9 seed somehow, but I'm going to take Hurts against Dallas. He back-to-back weeks as a 14 for Hurts, but like any other QB, those weeks are like a 5 or a 6. So like Hurts, we've seen his floor lately, and I think I just feel safer about that. Bryce Young obviously went crazy last week. That was a weird game, but San Francisco's defense not that great either. But I don't know. I'm not going to predict Bryce Young until I see some more consistency there. Michael Wilson, Jacoby Myers, the guy that really dominated me last week with 18 targets, 15 receptions out of nowhere after the guy never scored above a 7 or above an 8 the whole season. Going against Jacoby Myers, the guy at BTJ is still out, but he's had a modest stat line there. But I think I'm going to go Michael Wilson. Brissett slings it. He just took the NFL record for completions in a game. I saw he obviously has that rapport with them. So I'm gonna take Michael Wilson there. That's just such a weak week 12 matchup though. Like we're in week 12. He told us at the beginning of the season that we'd be breaking down a Jacoby Myers on Jacksonville versus Michael Wilson, and we'd be going Michael Wilson. And I don't know. It's just wild. McCaffrey against Breece Hall. I'm gonna go McCaffrey. I think Breece looks awesome, but that Jets offense does not. I do like Tyrod at the helm better than Fields for Brees, though, because there's so many games. Like on Thursday, obviously, he was watching it really closely, good being against Patriots. So many times Brees Hall is just wide open, and Fields would just not throw it to him, and he would just like panic and run. Tyrod or Tyrod would actually do those checkdowns, but McCaffrey's like one of the best fantasy assets out there. The dude got 3 touchdowns against me last week. Yeah. So I'm going to go McCaffrey there, but I do like Brees this week. Hunter Henry against Kyle Pitts. Oh, God, gross. Give me Hunter Henry. I don't want anything to do other than Bijan with that Falcons offense. There's some consistency, at least with Henry, so give me Henry there. Trey Tucker against Parker Washington. Stu's doing 2 Jacksonville receivers against the guy that has Brian Thomas Jr. I think that's actually kind of funny. Against Trey Tucker, Cleveland has a really good defense. Trey Tucker had a good week last week. I guess I'm going to go Trey Tucker. I don't know. It's mainly because it's a coin flip between which receiver I'd go with on Jacksonville, and Stu starting both of them. So I don't really like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go Trey Tucker. Maybe I'm going to go wash. I'll lean Trey Tucker, but it's close to a wash. And then Keyshawn Boutte against ETN. Oh my God, dude! This guy's a 9 seed.
Just take a step back and look at that roster, dude.
That's a 9 seed. I haven't even gotten to Mr. Cooper Kupp down there. Yeah, I mean, it looks like ETN was limited. I think he had like a non-contact jersey on. Didn't take contact at Thursday's Friday. Okay. I'll go ETN there, assuming he's playing. I don't think he's at. I think they expect him to play. Keyshawn Boutte could get a nice bomb. You know, Cincinnati's defense sucks. He's been out for a while. Good to go. I could see May wanting to make it a point to give him a score. But I'm going to go for the consistent touches with ETN there. And then, dude, what are these matchups? Like even like on Jackson with Michael Wilson, Trey Tucker, and this is or Cooper Kupp. Dude, I'm gonna go wash. I don't even want to pick against Cooper Kupp or Andre.
But they do say Isavas should actually have a good week this week with Chase being out.
That's fair. Okay, give me Ishivas. At least there's like some good news there. Like some positive trend. That's crazy to have Kupp, Ishivas, Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, Michael Wilson, and Trey Tucker starting in the matchup. And Keyshawn Boutte.
And one of these teams is the highest scoring team in the league. That's the crazy thing.
What? Like, are there bye weeks for Jack?
4 players in the Arizona and Jacksonville game, dude, in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, A-Chain is on bye. I don't know. Like, that's weird. Okay, I mean, I have Jack winning this one, I guess. I mean, I think CMC alone could win it. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not gonna take much for Jack to win this game. If McCaffrey has a good game,
any other team, I might have been like a little bit of a issue, a potential upset. I'm gonna go Jack here, but I think his projection's a little high, honestly. I think I'm gonna go 120 for Stu. Give him a 98.
Yeah, Stu's team's really bad. I mean, that's one of the worst teams I've seen ever. And I thought I had some bad like that lineups this year. Nothing matches that.
Yeah, I mean,
Jack, I got lucky with my CMC and A-Chain bye weeks. Yes, you did. And this is a great end of season matchup for you right here.
Yeah, really. Yeah, this is hope everyone above you falls.
This is a free space, dude.
Yeah.
Like, is Stu trying to win? TJ asked me the other day, is Stu trying to win, or is he like? I mean, I don't understand.
I guess Jordan Mason would have made sense to play potentially. Like at least he's getting no touches. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I don't either. At least he has 2 first-round picks next year, thanks to Hodge and that Jaden Daniels trade. I'll go Jack. I don't know. There really needs to be much talk. This guy on the left there should be our Tomato King. So hopefully everything below him goes right this week. So he's rightfully in that 12 spot because he really deserves the 12 spot. All right. Next matchup here, we got ZB versus Yags, two of the owners in the new owners group, in the new owners club. Huge matchup for ZB to stay in the rankings. He's had a weird up and down season. ZB has in and out of like being in contention. Jack says, hoping I get to pull out a bucket of popcorn and watch the other key matchups this week after the gauntlet I just went through. Yeah, I think you will. I think you'll have a good time watching the matchups, buddy. Yeah, this ZB's had a really up and down year. Like he had Jackson Dart, that was key, and then he got hurt, and then he started off strong. They went on a bad losing streak, but now he's back in it again. And so yeah, let's go over his matchups here.
Oh no!
Right away, starting with Aaron Rodgers with a broken left wrist, and he's going to play him this week. I don't really get that. There's got to be other guys you can pick up, but there you go. However, all Aaron Rodgers has to do is get over an 8. That is doable. So
easy.
That's doable. So really, if I'm him, I try and take the opportunity here to like get a little bit more than the 8. And I think Rodgers, if he does get over the 8, it's going to be like just over an 8. There's got to be somebody else you can pick up, but nonetheless, I'll take whoever the quarterback is to get over an 8 in this one. JSN versus Ricky Pearsall. Give me JSN. JSN's on pace to break like every Seattle Seahawk record of all time. So give me JSN. James Cook 21 or David Montgomery. I don't think David Montgomery's going to get a 21. So give me James Cook. Dalton Schultz a 1. Juwan Johnson anything above a 1. Give me Juwan Johnson. I love when teams have guys early on in the matchups, so you can just do that. It's pretty easy. Devontae Adams or DK Metcalf. Yeah, I'm gonna go Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams has been great this year. Just a stud of it. I mean, like, I'm upset that I traded him for a second-round pick many years ago. I just wanted to get what I could get at that time. I mean, he's been one of the most like steady and solid keepers like in the BL Plus history. Him and Tyreek Hill were, and I had both of them at once. Both champions on my team. But DK Metcalf, just like for whatever it is, like he cannot. There's even with Rodgers, like they never worked for some reason. Like DK could never be the Devontae Adams. He could never be a Jordy Nelson with Rodgers, which is so odd because he's such a talented guy. And I don't think it's going to be any better with Mason Rudolph. And I think Devontae Adams against Tampa Bay's really like shaky secondary. I love Devontae Adams in the spot. And now this is an interesting matchup here. The next one, TreVeyon Henderson versus Puka Nacua. Now you can honestly point to TreVeyon Henderson emerging as ZB's waking back up, the reemergence of ZB in the league this year. So once TreVeyon Henderson woke up, you saw ZB wake up as well. I mean, TreVeyon Henderson's been awesome. Puka, I love Puka. He's honestly, he's like a JSN type. It's very key that they have Puka versus JSN in this matchup. I think I'm going to lean TreVeyon Henderson here just because Cincinnati's defense is that bad. And I just see TreVeyon getting the volume, and I see TreVeyon kind of having a multi-touchdown performance again. I think Puka could have a good game, but I also think Devontae Adams could have a good game, so you're going to have to see a split here between the two. I really like TreVeyon Henderson over Puka this week. I think it'll be very close. I could easily make it a wash, but I think I like TreVeyon Henderson a little bit more than I like Puka this week. And then you have Alvin Kamara versus Emmanuel Wilson. What is the status on Jacobs?
I think he's gonna play.
Ow.
Yeah.
I like Jacobs. I mean, I like Kamara than over Emmanuel Wilson. And I'll tell you this: I think Emmanuel Wilson's very talented running back. If Jacobs wasn't playing, I think Wilson would actually look good. If not just as good as Jacobs, if not better. But I think I like Kamara over Emmanuel Wilson, especially if Jacobs plays this week. So that's pretty much a full-on ZB tilt here. So give me ZB with a commanding victory. He's going to slam dunk this one in, and Yaglu stays in that 12 spot. Poor guy.
Yeah, man, to have Josh Allen and then play against James Cook, like, yeah, ZB had Schultz, so kind of like brought it back down a little bit, but that's what ZB was looking at. He's like, okay, like I need to survive the Josh Allen, like that's part of it. And then you got to survive, Puka, but like Rodgers like cancels out DK. And like if Rodgers has a bad game, DK probably does too. And ZB's okay with that because you're taking like Yags doesn't really have more spots other than Puka to like get these points. And did a little glimpse into Yags' next 2 games, and he plays ZT or he plays Alex next week, the 1 seed, and then he plays ZT, who's the 6 seed playoff team. So a little scary here for Yags. I think this is a game that he was circling as a hopeful win, hopeful competitive game, and awful start. Yeah, I got ZB here too. I'm gonna go a 130 to 117, a 115. That really rough start there with Allen. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it was ZB like 3-game win streak after losing like 5 straight or something like that. Good for him. Trayvon Henderson was a guy I think I hit him up like 5 different times for when he was like, I don't know, even like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he still was like, I gotta wait. Like I've gone this far. Like I gotta wait and see if it happens, and it did. So good for him.
You drafted him high, so yeah.
We have a great schedule coming up too. Granted, I think week 14's not the playoffs yet, right? So that's where our bye week is. So
yeah. Well, your bye week's week 14.
Yeah.
Damn, it's so late.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys play Buffalo again, don't you?
Yeah, we played Cincinnati. Yeah, here Cincinnati, New York, like Giants. Then bye week, then Buffalo, Baltimore, Jets.
Wow, that's
juicy
awesome. Those are all like cake run defenses.
Yeah.
We have new owners club, a new owners club crime here in the chat. Jack says he's pulling for Yags hard this week. Wow.
Well, he said rest of the season, which does include this week. So.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's true. All right, well, me too. I don't want Yag to be the 12th man. I want Stu to be the 12th man.
It is funny though, because we were all joking about like the tie was just as bad as the loss, but I guess like how rankings were, I didn't even think about that. That's what has Stu above you and Tasia right now is that tie.
Yeah,
I
the
think
weakest
really
thing ever.
ever.
It's so weak.
It's like an additional edge.
Oh god. All right, we have our next matchup here. Huge, big. Arguably, we have a lot of good matchups this week, but arguably the biggest matchup of the week is DT versus David Roden.
This is as much like there's a lot of playoff implication. This is what we love. We love across the board week 12 playoff implication matchups. And this is as big as it gets. ZT, a guy like, when you made the claim, we talked about at the beginning of the show that he was going to be fighting for a playoff spot if he loses to Alex, and he is now, and literally might be out of the playoffs, will be out of the playoffs if he loses this one. Well, kudos to you for that prediction. That was bold based off of where the standings were and how his team was looking, and that's what happened. You got to look in the history books sometimes. You got to know how these teams play. Like it comes back. And obviously, Roden has been involved with some questionable big trades this season. But he's still sitting here at 7th seed, right on the door of a playoff spot. I know he wants to be a little higher than he is right now. Was he on a losing streak right now? Because I feel like he was 2-game losing streak right now. So wants to right the ship here. So both teams that really need a win. Stafford against Lamar. Stafford has been playing at an extremely high level. Weak last week, but going against Tampa, this game should be a fun one to watch. And Lamar, granted, was against Cleveland, had a really weak game. The last 2 games have been kind of weak with Lamar, and I might lean Stafford here.
You got to.
Yeah, the rushing upside with Lamar, but like based off of the last 2 weeks with Lamar, like I don't. And like just how Stafford's been playing all season. I think the Ravens could easily just hand it to Henry a few times and walk out of there. I guess it's their stadium, but like I'll take Stafford there. I think that's a fun QB matchup for both of them. But I'll take Justin Jefferson against Amon-Ra. Jefferson is, you see how frustrated he is. He can't hold it in anymore with how bad McCarthy is. Amon-Ra had a really slow week last week. Granted, it was against Philly. He had 12 targets and only 2 receptions last week. But now Lions are going against the Giants. I'm gonna lean Amon-Ra there. Until I see something with McCarthy and JJ, like there just does not seem to be a good connection there because JJ just does not seem like a good quarterback. So that's unfortunately giving a huge hit to Jefferson. Gibbs against Dowdle. Dowdle has been awesome. Gibbs again. Did he have? No, he had a decent week last week. I'm taking Gibbs there. I like Dowdle a lot, but again, it's just the involvement with Gibbs and just I just, yeah, the playmaking ability with Gibbs, I'm going to take over Dowdle, but I do like Dowdle a lot. Gunnar Helm against Mason Taylor. Here we go, ZT's tight ends. He was able to find Gadsden. He lost Kraft. Now Gadsden's on a bye. Yeah. I'm just going to give this a wash. Yeah, I mean, I don't think these guys are going to break out in any certain way, so I'm going to give this a wash. Jalen Warren against Devonta Smith. Was Warren all right? He was limited on Thursday. I mean, they said he could have come back in the game, I think, but Gainwell was looking pretty good last week. So I'm going to go Devonta Smith here, I think, against Dallas. I think at least one of the – I mean, if it doesn't happen this week, I don't know. Then I think someone on the Eagles, like Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown, are going to go off. I'm hoping it's Devonta Smith because I go against A.J. Brown this week. Jalen Warren, I think Gainwell is going to get a lot more action. I think he deserved it. He looked great. And just we'll see what they do with Rodgers with the broken left hand. Like, I think Chicago is going to want them to throw. Chicago's defense has been looking pretty good. So give me Devonta Smith. Pickens against Woody Marks. I mean, I wish Woody got more play. He was looking great, but they just he didn't punch it in. I thought he was going to. Pickens has still continued to look awesome. I know a lot of people have question marks around Pickens and if he was going to continue with CeeDee Lamb. He has. I mean, they sat out the first series, or was it first series or first quarter last week?
First series,
and they still had a huge game. I mean, Alex, do you think Alex would have? Do you think Alex would rather still have Baker, or do you think he'd rather have Pickens right now? Because if he didn't do Baker, he'd still have Herbert and Purdy as his quarterbacks.
I mean, yeah, probably. And quite frankly, I mean, was Baker really giving him one win so far? I mean, like, he easily probably rather have Pickens right now. I think he probably kicks himself. He'll never admit it, but he'll that easily kicking himself on that one.
I agree. So good for Roden there. So yeah, I'll take Pickens. I think he's going to get over an 8. Again, I thought Marks looked good, but just wasn't able to punch in a touchdown. Tet versus T. Higgins. I'm going to go T. Higgins here. I think Ted probably had a good game last week, right? He had a really good game last week. Jesus. Maybe Carolina keeps it going. I just got to see more consistency out of Bryce Young and T. Higgins. They're going to pepper him with targets against us. I'm really interested to see if this is going to be Burrow or Flacco. I don't know, but we have Christian Gonzalez would probably be on him though. Oof, that's a tough one. Actually, I'm going to go Ted here. I think I'm going to go Ted. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. This is a close one. Man, I don't know, man. This is a tough one. I'm going to, just for the storylines and just like where I want, like I want Roden to win this week. Give me a Roden win here.
I want Roden to win.
He's lost 2 straight. ZT is still looking all right with his points for, I think. Roden has way more points for than ZT actually. So he deserves a spot. 2-game losing streak. Let's give it to Roden this week. I think it's going to be a really, really close game. I like the projections, honestly. I like 132 to 126.
Yeah, I think they're being a little too generous with ZT's score, honestly. I will say I genuinely want Roden to win this game for many reasons, but like I will say you have the battle of 2 different types of like philosophies here. You have one with Roden who like will trade and he doesn't need to. It's like, dude, you have a good team. Why are you doing that trade? Are you an idiot? And then you have the other guy who's stubborn and it's like, no, this is the team I drafted. These guys are good. I'm coming down with the ship. It's like, okay, dude. You have like one that maybe trades a little bit too much, and you have one who doesn't do anything at all. Like not a lot of like not a lot of grooming his lineup. Whereas he does a really good job. Roden does that and maybe a little bit too much. It's like, dude, like you don't need to pluck your eyebrows that much, dude. You only need to get rid of the unibrow. That's it, man. But nah, he's making that thing thin as shit. Whereas ZT just like that he's stubborn and it's like if you're telling him to do a move, like, no, I'm not doing it. This is my team and I like it. Okay. I think the only move he made this year was the Mike Evans for Olave trade, which might have been the worst trade of the year. It's underrated how bad that trade was because no one's talking about that one because a lot of other things have happened since then. It was such a minute trade, but I think he might have given Teja Olave a 6th-round keeper for Mike Evans. I mean, for nothing, a guy who played maybe one game for him.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the Gunnar Helm thing. I'm not really high on Gunnar Helm. And then Mason Taylor. I think actually Mason Taylor might be key. I think Tyrod is big tight end check down guy, so that's huge for him. But yeah, I think Roden wins this game. I don't think it's necessarily this close as the thing project. T. Higgins is the number 1 guy. George Pickens is pretty much playing like a number 1 guy right now. Devontae Smith is. I mean, he's got. What's funny about Roden's team? He's got a lot of number 2s who. Well, T. Higgins circumstantially is the number 1 this week, but Pickens is playing like the number 1, and Devontae Smith is like the number 1 over there now. I gotta say, I like Roden's team. I think Roden, like I said many weeks ago, that Roden had a chance to be in the championship game, or one of my favorites. I think he's still there for me, even after all these trades and stuff he did this year. I think it's Roden's year. There's something about his team. It's got this. There's something about it. I really can't put my finger on it, but there's something about it. Now, would I have done the trades he did with the Aglu? Probably not. Or the trade with Hotch? Probably not. But I still like what he's got going on. He's cooking up something nicely over there, and it's nice. So yeah, give me Dave over ZT this week in a blowout. Just want to make sure that's in there as well. Blowout.
ZT's in the group me. He's not in the live comments.
Yeah, he's scared to show his face in this thing. That's why.
Wow.
And I see we have 4 people. We have a quarter of the league in the live right now, and ZT's definitely one of them. All right, so our next matchup will be we got Hotch versus Tasia. That's a key matchup. Hold on, I got to update this. Hotch versus Tasia. Key matchup here. You got guys who kind of go at each other a lot on the group message, which is kind of key. It's fun, just funny to see. And honestly, like this is kind of like a matchup that, I mean, Hodge has a chance to make the playoffs, and I guess Tasia does too. I don't think either one of them are going to make the playoffs, which is great. I love that, especially this guy not making the playoffs. Hodge not making the playoffs is fun for me. I love that. Nothing satisfies me more than seeing him not make the playoffs. But anyway, let's begin here. You got Jared Goff versus the Giants and Drake May versus Cincinnati. I'm going to go wash here. Drake May gets Cincinnati. Cincinnati's horrible defense. Giants have a bad defense. They give up a lot to the quarterback this year. I think I'm going to go wash. I think if you look at the numbers of when Jared Goff, I forgot some stat, but essentially when Jared Goff gets beasted 1 week and he plays at home the following week, his numbers are like ridiculous. Like we're talking all pro QB stats. Drake May gets Cincinnati. It is against Cincinnati at Cincinnati. I could say wash here, but for some reason I want to go Jared Goff in this matchup over Drake May. So I'll go Jared Goff in a slight one. Olave versus Ibuka. Ibuka limited. He should play. They have Godwin back this week. That'll also help. Not keying on him as much. But Olave just has a solid floor. And I'm gonna go Olave because the guy. I mean, this guy's getting like 15 targets a game. I love what I'm seeing from Olave. So give me Olave over Ibuka. DeAndre Swift and Keyshawn Judkins. I'll go Judkins against the Raiders. I think they're going to rely heavily on him with Shadur being in there this week, so I'll go Judkins against over DeAndre Swift. But DeAndre Swift is essentially like an RB1, RB2 with a Manun guy every week, so that's a whole different situation itself. I still don't think Tasia should have done the trade he did, but that's Tasia's move. Trey McBride versus Brock Bowers. Ooh, key matchups here. I'm going to go Trey McBride. I know they're giving Brock Bowers a 14, but, man, he is so up and down. Like they just don't feed him as much as they should. I'm looking at McBride. McBride is like, I don't know what his stats would be if we put him in the wide receiver columns. I think he'd be like a top 10 wide receiver with his numbers. He's awesome. I remember a couple years ago when Tage was trying to move him like for anything. I think he wanted like a 5th round pick for McBride, and everyone said no. And like, if I go back in time, I would have done that trade. I mean, the amount I traded for Bucky Irving, I would have traded for Trey McBride right now. And I think he would say no if I offered a 6th and a 5th for him. Kenneth Walker versus CeeDee Lamb. I'll go CeeDee Lamb. Can't trust Kenneth Walker, even despite the Seahawks coach saying they want to give him the ball more. I'm gonna go CeeDee Lamb. this week. Rashee Rice versus Rashad White. Rashad White, apparently they're going to be using Sean Tucker more this week. He had a big week last week, and they're going to utilize him a little bit more. They're going to utilize Rashad White more in a third down type back approach is what I read. But Rashee Rice gets a bad Colts secondary. I think the Chiefs are going to bounce back hard this week. And, I'll go Rashee Rice over Rashad White. And then Romeo Dobbs versus Luther Burden. Give me Romeo Dobbs. Just a solid floor. Luther Burden, I mean, they have like 5 wide receivers over there, and like he's the last guy I want of all the dudes they have over there. Pretty interesting matchups here. It's pretty split, pretty much a toss-up, honestly, this game. I'm gonna go Tasia just because I want Tasia to win, but also I want just to like completely fuck with the standing. So yeah, let's go Tasia with the slam dunk dub over Hodge here.
Yeah, I mean that's my exact same reasoning too. I think we can go Tasia. I do lean Drake May, but also just I'm going to in the quarterback matchup. I think. Yeah, I just don't think because like CD with an 18 projection going against Philly's defense, like Philly shuts people down. Judkins, like Sanders, I'm really worried about that. Cleveland's defense against Bowers, like Rams against Igbuka, like he has some pretty tough matchups all across the board. So I think I feel a little safer with Tasia's team, and I want the chaos. And also as a current playoff team. Don't really want Hodge's team to get in here because then he'll have he has Chase, he has Hampton coming back. Scary team. So yeah, let's go Tasia. I honestly don't know how high scoring this one's going to be though. I feel like this could be like a 118 to like 111 game.
Yeah. Yeah, like even the ones I'm giving to Hodge, like you can make the arguments that like he shouldn't even be getting those, right? Like Judkins versus Vegas, I mean, sure, like that should naturally be a good thing there, but I mean, if Shedeur is as bad as people think he is, just stack the box against fucking Kinshaw and make Shedeur beat you. Bowers, I know I didn't give him that one. CeeDee Lamb, I mean, CeeDee Lamb's great and all, but like Pickens is looking like the guy right now as far as the targets and stuff. You're also going against the Eagles defense, so like even that's not a sure thing. So like even the ones I gave him, I don't even think they're like that much far over than what Tasia has. So yeah. All right, so that does it for that's all our matchups, right?
I think so.
All right. So now, without further ado, we're going to get to our final topic here is our tomato watch. We're just going to do what we have been doing. We're just going to pick our guy that we think should be the person, and we'll go from there. And once we get to the final week, in preparation for the final week, we'll do our final bottom 6 standings for the year. But yeah, let's get to our tomato watch.
I'm gonna keep on winning, so I won't be in the tomato club. Don't wanna wear that crown and get pelted with that farmer's love. Back to back like Cobb. Oh no, back to back like Cobb. Oh no, now that just ain't my fate. I'm gonna keep on winning, so I won't be in the tomato club. I'll dodge those red tomatoes if I just keep my place. When the final week comes and the shame bells ring, back to back like Cobb. Oh no, back to back like Cobb. Oh no, now that just ain't my fate. I'm gonna keep on winning, so I won't be in the tomato club. Tomato club.
All right, so now we're gonna get to our Tomato King, and with the way this goes is we will do a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then Kyle and I will flip over our pieces of paper that we have in front of us, and that will be a reveal of our Tomato King as of week 12, with a few weeks left to go. And then we'll tell you why this person is our Tomato King as of right now. So yeah, let's without further ado, let's begin. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. Yeah, Yags. Wow. You want to begin? You want to begin on Yags?
Yeah, I mean, I think I maybe going into the show had a little bit of a different angle of who I might go. Like it's a good team, but his schedule's brutal coming up, and I don't know if he gets a win out of the last 3 weeks. And I think that's it. I think it's just, especially like he's made some kind of, he's like, I don't really care about the punishment. Then take it, last place. That's all. Honestly, all there really is too. Especially with Josh Allen getting 8 this week, man. It's rough.
Yeah, that was really my rationale. Because, like, yes, you look at his team compared to Stu's team, because that's where, like, when you get to this point in the season, right? In the beginning of the season, it's like week 3, week 4, we can like rationalize, like, oh, well, his team's better, so I don't think he is the Tomato King. But like when you get to this point in the season where you are pretty much what you are at this point, where your record says you are, you can't really do the whole matchup, the team versus team, roster versus roster anymore. Stu's roster is by and large the worst, one of the worst rosters I think we've ever seen in this league. But he has a game up on Yags, and like you said, Yags is remaining schedule, and then already this week with Josh Allen getting 8th, there's really not much he can really do to get out of this one, at least this week. And then he has ZB this week, Alex next week, and then in my combo, ZT is going to be scratching and clawing to get into the playoffs in that last week. So, like you said, I think he goes 0-3. Even if Stu goes 0-3, he still has a game lead over Yags. 0-3, I think that will pretty much sum up the year for our guy Yag. What's really sad. Jack Lou, I think Yag's is going to ruin some playoff hopes next couple weeks. Ooh, I think that's a lot of wishful thinking on Jack's part. I think Jack just wants Yags to clear the space behind him is what he wants.
Ooh.
Yeah, unfortunately. But again, I will say this, and like this may sound like a backhanded compliment. I think Yaglu has a top 3 team going into next year based on his keepers.
Yeah.
Like a preseason playoff team, like for next year, if that's even doable.
Yeah, he's going to have a good pick paired with good keepers. I think it's a good sign.
That's true. I didn't forget. I forgot the number 1 pick part. Number 1 pick with Josh Allen, with Puka, and with Michael Pittman. That's a really good four guys you'll have next year. So, I mean, a lot to be excited for the Yags fan base. But just right now, not a lot to be excited for. And last night he was talking about wearing his paintball mask for the tomato throws. And then he said, luckily, he made a comment. He's like, luckily you have 4 wins, so that's only 4 tomatoes from you. I'll take 4 tomatoes from you. I was like, oh, you bastard. I was like, I want at least 2 more. I want 6 of those bad boys. And then he was dogging you. He said, yeah, Cobb said he played baseball, but I've seen the way Cobb throws. He's got a shot put throw. He said, who else? He said, who else is a good throw? I said, Alex. Oh, he played baseball. He's like, okay, maybe I could see that. I said, Tasia, well, as a key mechanics. And I was like, I think that's pretty much it. And I mentioned you because you played baseball. And he was like, nah, I've seen Cobb throw. You can't throw.
I'm going to start warming up a little bit.
I was going to say,
I can throw a baseball. I can't throw a football.
Yeah, and they're 2 totally different like things, right? And what you have, yeah, you have 7, so like, yeah, you're gonna be fucking. You're gonna have like 10, potentially 10 chances at that.
Ooh, I might have to go for some headshots.
Ooh, Jack, I was a pitcher in high school. Wow, that's key.
Ooh, that's key.
Poor Yags. Yeah, so yeah, Yag will say, yeah, it's fine. There's only 3 people in the league who could throw, so I'm okay with it. So just trying to amp up everybody else in the league who is disrespected by that comment. So Jack, see, Yag started talking shit, man. He's not even the Tomato King yet. See, but yeah. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us on this Week 12 preview. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We will see you guys next week as we see how things unfold after this week. Hope everybody has a good weekend, and hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving because we won't see you guys till after Thanksgiving next week. So, actually, the games start on Thursday, so really we should do a show on Tuesday. Really,
Ooh,
we could talk about that.
Yeah, we take the old work schedule.
Right.
This actually looks pretty good.
Can you see my schedule? No. All right. Cool, man. So we'll maybe do a show on Tuesday next week before the Thursday games. We'll keep you guys posted. We'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.